Welcome to everyone. Today's webinar is on the customer experience value creation, all the opportunity that executives and C-suites expect out of customer value and how to deliver it. So today we're having a conversation with Lynn Hunsaker of ClearAction about her experience. The topics we're going to be talking about today include the importance of proving the value of CX improvements, our research about what type of benefits and the benchmarks of customer experience value delivery, and the opportunity to improve both efficiency and profitability, not just growth. So Lynn, welcome today. And could you talk a little bit about your experience of, kind of proving the value of CX improvements?
Hello, Greg. It's a pleasure to be here and to talk about one of my favorite topics. Yes, there's a lot of ironies actually in growth metrics, and what normally people think about is the outcome and pushing there. But when you consider your children's schooling, for example, if one of your children isn't doing well, you're usually not just going to push them to score better or to butter up the teacher. You're usually going to go to the root causes, like, can they hear? Can they see? Are they distracted? Do they know how to study? And so we don't really do that so much with business metric. We need to do a lot more of it. And I think that's a new angle for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, for a decade, the concept of being able to kind of show the full impact of customer experience on both in terms of growth, making for a better company, as well as improving profitability has been a big topic. It feels like there's a sea change of opportunity. CXPA just gave out their impact awards 2 weeks ago on CX Day to 11 companies who demonstrated a number of impacts to their business in terms of growth, profitability, efficiency, and all that. Tucker and Company had done fair research over the last 10 years, really based on a number of different case studies we've done with different clients. To cover that real quickly, more than 20 industries were involved in it, identified $25 billion of value throughout the different industries. And it's not just some research report that says, well, all this opportunity is out there. These are 20 plus case studies that add up to $25 billion of value, company by company, industry by industry, to generate that. And for those who are looking to try and understand kind of the impact it can have on their growth, we put out a set of benchmarks. The benchmarks are, 3 growth benchmarks about improving revenue through acquisition, new customer acquisition, 42%, cross-selling of 39%, and retention of 29%, adding up to be able to double your revenue through those 3 different levers. And during the course of this, we also identified there were a number of operating cost reductions as well. And we wanted to, the highlights of the research is that finding that CX is not just a soft opportunity. There's some really breakthrough levels of both revenue and cost reduction that warrants C-suite attention and investment from the enterprise along this way. So it deserves every aspect that would go into tens or hundreds of millions of dollars that would normally go into other types of initiatives. Customer experience deserves that, warrants that, but also deserves the type of program management and benefits realization experience to realize all that opportunity as well. So today we wanted to, I want to have Lynn talk a little bit about her experience in that last piece, the operating cost reduction. Lynn, you've done a huge amount of work about talking about a variety of different angles of making the companies more productive, more efficient, more lean and agile as a result of customer experience improvement, so that it's not just tastes great on the growth side, but it's less filling on the operations side. I'd just like to let you tell your story about some of those examples in today's session.
Yeah, well, when you think about what customer experience is, it's really quite simple. Customers buy into your value proposition, and then they want to get what you promised and move on with their life and their business, doing it for a purpose in their life or business. And so the more that your delivery of your value proposition and the value itself matches what they're trying to get done in their life or business, the more streamlined your whole operations will be. First of all, you'll have an easier time of acquiring customers, and then easier time of retaining them and less cost. So a lot of the things we're doing in customer experience, we have to be thinking about, is it value rescuing or value creating? And frankly, most of the CS things, customer service and customer success, are generally in place because of missteps in the value proposition itself, or the delivery of the value to customers. Something was frustrating, something was confusing, something was broken, or whatever. And you have to consider as well that sometimes things happen to customers outside of your control. The weather, a hurricane, for example, or they changed their mind, or they had a reorganization, they moved, birth or death, and all these types of things are out of your control, but they cost. Customers never really wake up in the morning and say, how much can I cost my suppliers? They just want to get their stuff and move on in their life of business. And whenever they're costing you, it's it's unfortunate. So that's how we should be looking at customer experience, and upside and downside.
Right. I've read a number of different things, and you've talked about kind of taking out the wasted effort, during a number of different experiences. Can you talk about kind of both examples of that and also how that impacts the organization and how it's perceived by some of the leadership?
So think about acquiring customers in the first place. You want to increase revenue, so you're trying to sell to more customers, you're trying to expand with customer. If you have identified the customers that are best suited to your operational sweet spot, meaning that, like in a baseball bat, there's a sweet spot. When you hit the ball, it's more likely to be a home run. Okay. So when you have identified your customers in terms of they're easy to please, they don't require a lot of self-service or support of any type. They get what they wanted, and they keep renewing. So that's really who you should be targeting. Unfortunately, people over in business development don't really know that. By and large, people over in marketing and business development and the revenue operations are doing their forecasting based on external factors of who is expanding their spending. They're not necessarily looking at who is costing. So that's the first opportunity that I think makes a huge difference in the entire journey management when you can get that right.
Yeah. It's clear that you can acquire them smoother, faster, the sales cycle's shorter, the sales cycle's more productive, your win-loss ratios are going to be higher as a result of it. They're more likely to enjoy the experience and buy more, so the cross-selling revenues are better. And if you get all that, they're going to last longer and give you better positive word of mouth. So it's pretty straightforward on that piece, and it takes less effort. You get all those things with less effort, less support effort, less sales effort, less operational effort.
Right. But why aren't we doing that as a rule of thumb? Every company in every industry and every geography around the world, they're not doing it. Someone needs to facilitate it. And this is a huge opportunity for CX teams to amplify and accelerate revenue. When you can help bring this data together and adjust the mindsets to rethink who are your real ideal customers. Who should we really be emphasizing, and how should we be adjusting our messaging so that we're proactively shaping expectations realistically? And then how should we be coordinating with all the operational groups who deliver the value, which is really everybody. When you think about it, even the things that legal team is doing, your HR team and so on are affecting whether you can hit the nail on the head with what you promised to customers, whether you're really delivering it or creating unintentional or unfortunate additional costs. Usually people will think about the cost to serve also fairly narrowly, like how many hours does it take for agents to handle this particular issue in a month? But when I looked at it a little deeper, I started seeing that even something that takes 20 hours total to handle might actually have a certain number of returns, maybe 15 a month for a $2,000 product. Doesn't sound like a lot. A certain number of remedies, a certain number of, churn and that. Even at a modest rate, you start to see that getting to the root cause of solving that thing that's taking 20 hours, it might take you 9 months to solve it. So it doesn't look like a quick win. It might take 30 hours of your IT or engineer's time. It doesn't look like a good trade-off. But when you add up all of the,
Right.
snowballing of additional costs, now you start to see, good grief, you could actually get 9,700% estimate for that type of issue.
Sure.
And yeah, so there's all kinds of dimensions that we need to be helping the company think through and managing smarter as a result of our customer experience work.
Yeah. Well, there's no company out there that I've met that has too little work to do and too many people to do it. So making it easy, even if you're not able to, to put a specific value on it, seems like a pretty attractive thing. Feels like a no-brainer when you're actually able to put the numbers on it as well. Is that your experience of, when you pitch the whole concept that people go, it tastes great, and and I'm going to feel better at the end of it. Yeah.
Well, customer experience people shy away from this for a couple of reasons. First of all, they don't have complete data.
Right.
And they're afraid of showing data that's not complete, because in market research, when you're showing voice of the customer, if you have data that's false, it doesn't get you very far. Well, that's true. When you're showing research data, you need to really know what the heck you're doing and make sure that you aren't biasing the data and things like this. But when you're talking about business decisions, you need to be directionally correct, and that's it. You don't really need to worry about the pennies and every different source coming together. You just need to paint a picture that's big enough that managers could say, wow, just with those elements, I can see that's 97%. I'd be, an idiot to not embrace this opportunity to stop this. Right? Because you're looking at millions there, where you thought it was like a few $1,000s, but you're actually looking at millions.
Right.
So that's where CX people get tripped up. We just need to be taking whatever data we have and tell people this is quick and dirty math. It's back of the envelope or, napkin math. But just with these puzzle pieces, you're getting a glimpse of the iceberg.
Right.
The actual problem is much bigger. And so this is an understatement. And usually the reaction will be, that can't stand, let's do something about it. In a few cases, people will say, well, that's so inaccurate, you're missing this and you're missing that. And you need to redirect them to how many things have you seen from HR or IT or whatever that were giving you, an indication of the direction or the size of the issue, but it wasn't, 99% accurate. Is this good enough to go forward? So usually people say it's good enough to go forward.
Well, there's no question that out of all the different initiatives companies have, that it's a short list of all those that have detailed decimal point level business cases on them. Most of it deals with two things: common sense and committed sponsorship. And so getting the sponsors on board to say, look, I believe it. I'm going to help make it happen, and enough votes to win the day without having every little detail. And so a lot of CX is analysis. A lot of it can be also change management, change leadership as well. And that's where it comes in.
That whole thing, the change leadership or stakeholder analysis, was the most powerful thing in my entire career. If you haven't taken training in it, take training. But I will warn you that change management is not equal across all of the different models or sources. There's quite a lot of change management that's aimed at helping you manage people after a crisis or, coaching people. And that's not the kind of change management you need here. What kind of change management you need is more stakeholder analysis, driving organizational change.
Right.
When you know how to analyze the different general managers, what's in it for them, their pros and their cons, their aspirations, their pain points, then you can start to help remove the roadblocks that they have, things that you do through the organization. So very different type of training for change management than what a lot of people think.
Yeah, and when you have that, you've kind of got an X-ray vision on how to get the right decisions, but committed to up front and committed to in the long haul. So, so I think that in the whole batch of skills that CX leaders need to have, understand that customers is where it all starts, but being able to lead the type of change through influence, not just data, not just analytics, not just through storytelling, but through influence is one of those critical things. So, Lynn, thanks for all the work you've done. I want to wrap this up by just saying, look, there's tons of potential for CX to drive growth. We've seen that for decades, and and new benchmarks and opportunities exist out there to show that. But the part about making it easier to do business inside the company is one of those things that in a post-COVID world, most companies are looking for, especially with challenges in staffing, in technology, and in leadership. And so this kind of completes that circle, makes it even more of a no-brainer to do this. And if they can get the 100% return on investment that you've talked about in some of your work, it should make total sense for everyone. So thanks to your leadership in that area.
You bet.
All right. All right. Thanks to everyone. And we'll have more from Lynn in future webinars.